Now we're going to talk about writing a quadratic equation that was originally in standard form, writing that in vertex form. And to do that, we have this process called completing the square. Now, when we're completing the square, there are a couple steps we need to follow. The first step is if you have a constant at the end of your trinomial, you're going to move that value to the other side by either adding or subtracting it. Then, if you have a value of a besides 1, at the coefficient that's attached to your x squared, if you have a number there that's not 1, you're going to factor that number out. We're just factoring out that a. Then we're going to look at our value of b after we have factored out a. We're going to divide it by 2 and square it, and we're going to add that expression to both sides of our equation. We will factor the trinomial that's left over, and then we're going to move our constant back to the other side. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, so let's look at an example. We've got f of x equals x squared plus 8x minus 5. Step number 1, move the constant to the other side. We have this negative 5 right now, so I'm going to start by adding 5 to both sides. So now on the left, we have f of x plus 5. And on the right, we just have x squared plus 8x. The next step would be to factor out an a value here other than 1. In this situation, our a value is 1, so we don't need to do anything for step 2. Step 3 says look at your b value, that's the coefficient that's attached to your x, divide it by 2 and square it, and we're going to add that exact number to both sides of our equation. So what that looks like here, b is 8, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides of my equation. So now on the left, I have f of x plus and 5 plus 16 is 21. And that is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 16. We added 16 to both sides of our equation. Now on the right, I'm going to factor this trinomial. So I'm going to see what multiplies to 16 that adds up to 8. So the factors of 16 are 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. The factors that are going to add up to 8 are 4 and 4. So now we have f of x plus 21 equals, since it was 4 and 4, they're the same number, I'm going to put x plus 4 squared. I'm not going to put x plus 4, x plus 4. I want that squared there. This is always going to be a perfect trinomial. That's why we're doing it the way that we're doing it. Lastly, we're going to take this constant and move it back to the other side so that f of x is by itself. So we're left with f of x equals x plus 4 squared minus 21, and now our equation is in vertex form. So for example, the vertex of this quadratic, we switch the sign for h, we keep the sign for k. That is our vertex.